We spoke yesterday about growing a heart for the homeless, or for people in need, or for people in general, always. But certainly, for the people around us that are really in pain and really hurting. And really, part of love is becoming aware of that and letting the heart open. And as I'm walking around town and becoming aware of how I am as a person, to other people. How do I react when I see someone dirty and sitting in need on the side of the road and asking for money? It's really been very eye-opening to begin to pay attention to how I am and how I exist in the world, and trying to measure that against this ideal of loving, and this ideal of worshiping the beloved, the divine in all things, this ideal of seeing God in everyone, and the pain in me of recognizing the fact that I just don't, and that so often, there's recoil or fear or pulling back or protectionism, defense within myself, or just not seeing things that I don't really want to deal with, or things that I don't really want to become aware of. And I was thinking yesterday in my response an idea about helping the homeless, since that's really what I'm looking at and what I'm becoming confronted with here in the last couple of days. Yesterday I said that it wasn't so much about finances, but what is it? I was thinking and contemplating the idea of what would it be like to fall through the bottom of society, to lose a job, to lose a home, to lose family connections, to lose business connections, to lose money, to lose cleanliness, fresh clothing, and the desperation that must accompany that, and the pain of separation. And I began to realize that I think really the first thing necessary in taking care or being a part of the solution to this is to provide connection to those people who have literally lost everything, who have literally gone through the bottom of society. And that more important than money, even though that's often what is asked for, would be a connection, a human connection. And so to stop and maybe not give money, because I may not have money to give, but I have my humanity to share. To stop for a moment and look the person in the eye and ask them what I'm wondering. How are you? What do you need? To take a moment and let them know that they're seen. To let them know that there's a human being who recognizes them. And in that spice of divinity, to recognize God in their eyes, just purposely, consciously, directly, for a moment. Reflect back to them the beautiful nature that is dimly lit within them. Something they've forgotten, and something I, unfortunately, have learned to ignore in them. To begin practicing that, to begin putting that into my daily walk in the world. And if you don't live in an environment where there's homeless around, well, that's fairly fortunate, maybe fairly sad, because it's a great opportunity to worship and to love. But that's not lost. Think about the way you walk down any city street or your neighborhood street. I took a wonderful walk this morning with Swami Mahayogananda up through the Hollywood Hills. And just to be with someone who was saying good morning to everybody that he passed, and to be with somebody who was playing with the dogs. We had these two wonderful little corgis that came approaching us. And normally I would just keep walking, even walk around them, not paying any attention. And to see Mahayogananda bend down and really enjoy the dogs and turn and make a connection with the owner, I thought, this is love. This is what I'm called to as a divine spark. This is what it is to be in the world as a spiritual person. To feel and honor and act out of and behave accordingly to that spiritual spark that you share with every living thing. And to make a point of that, to return to my own humanity, to wake up and become alive again, to become a human being, which means to become a pure manifestation of caring, of consolation, of hope, of access, of connection. So that's what I'm thinking about today. That's what I'm going to work on in the next few weeks. That's where I'm going to experiment to see if I can find my beloved even more clearly, even more sweetly, even more kindly than I ever have before.